Good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to Affixify's Industry Chats, the live show. I am your host, Jasmine Saliga. I'm the CEO and founder of Affixify, but who needs titles? We just do anything that needs to be done around here. And I'm really excited to have my friend Cory Falter with us. Many of you joining or watching later on YouTube, you're going to know Cory. He is such a voice of hospitality on LinkedIn. He is doing huge things with Lure Agency. So, Cory, though you very much don't need an introduction because so many people are already following and tuning into what you're saying, tell us a little bit about you and give us a quick intro on your agency, too. I want to hear both of those before we jump into the topic today.
Oh, well, thank you so much for that, by the way, Jasmine. It's been a pleasure getting to know you and collaborating with you. And as you know, right now, I'm dealing with a little bit of a bee problem. So this might be, we'll see how exciting this gets on a live scenario here. So, yeah, just a quick, I don't want to tee this up too much, but as a B2B hospitality marketer, we primarily empower and help independent hotels on the group side, and then also hospitality vendors increase their bottom line with trust building sales and marketing strategies. So I'm the partner of Lure Agency, president of the HSMAI chapter here in San Diego, which I have a shout out to my awesome team here. I have an In Sync show podcast, twin daughters at SDSU, and I'm a former pro motocross racer turned marketer. So thank you for that. Having me on, by the way.
Like so many things. I love you span all of the topics. And since we are on the topic of bees, so Cory has like a bee issue going on here, but you said you're a B2B marketer. I'm like,
oh nice. How about that?
I had to say it. No, I love what you're doing. You have such like a wide variety of topics you cover on your LinkedIn, but all of them are so helpful. And I'm a big fan. So I'm really excited that you decided to join us today. You accepted my invitation.
Right.
And I want to, so you have a lot of knowledge. We had to narrow down, like, what do we talk about? Because Cory has so many things that we could learn from and glean from. And I think today what we determined was we really want to talk about strategies for driving direct group revenue. And you are the expert here. I am going to be the student here. I want to facilitate, but for those watching, please use the comments to ask questions. We'll touch on those as we can, because this is a topic. And I'm learning from you, Cory, that it's not a common concept to be focused on direct group revenue. This is a little bit of a different idea. So just to kick us off, tell me why there should be a focus on this in our industry for hoteliers, anyone watching. What's the why behind this?
The why, right? Simon Sinek's golden circle. That's the big motivator. Why should we look at that? So thank you for that setup and having me on, by the way. So it's no mystery. Hotels in general have a very unique model in that a lot of their opportunities are given to them from third parties. Right. So dependency, not just happens on the leisure side, i.e. OTAs, which a lot of our cohorts talk about. There's a lot of people on the leisure side talking about it, and it's obviously for good reason. But I think an underserved or highlighted area is equally on the group side. So there is such an opportunity on the group side because it's almost looked at as an afterthought for most hotels. You go to their website, they don't realize that the B2B side or the meetings and events side of the website should be set up totally different because it's a different prospect than a leisure guest. So as a B2B marketer, I see so much low-hanging fruit left on the table right now for most every hotel, except for our partners, of course, right? So I'm going to hit, there's so many to this, but I'm just going to peel back primarily 5 of these top 5 highlights I'm going to talk about really quickly. Time and resources. So when you're able to optimize for direct group revenue, you're able to save more time, more resources because you're going to get traditionally a higher converting lead, more educated, better under better circumstances. They traditionally convert at a higher rate. So that in itself, then that process is easier. Stronger relationships. We all know when you add another person in between you and, I'm using the hotel and the prospect, and there's somebody standing in the way, that communication, that dialogue can get a little bit wonky. And the fundamentals of every business is owning your customer. So the lifetime customer value, that's like business 101. So it's always been unique because we do work with other vendors and suppliers that aren't just in hospitality. But at the top of that is the first party data and owning your guest. That is almost like business 101. So stronger relationships. Third, broader audience. This is a big one. Cvent's own numbers suggest 50 to 80% of the people planning meetings today are not professional planners. They're they're administrative assistants. And this is one trend that the hotels failed to see after the pandemic, use that word anymore, but right? It feels like it's been 5 years, but there was a huge shift, specifically in the group. A lot of dedicated planners were not brought back. And another hat was given to Sally Sue, the administrative assistant, and now she's the planner. She's got no idea what she's doing. She doesn't know what attrition is. She doesn't know what buyouts are, anything like that. So most hotels have not recognized that, and they're not optimizing for a person who's not a savvy or experienced planner. Fourth, most important to ownership, it's more profitable. You're not paying commissions and finder fees, and not saying that that's not worthy, because I think a lot of third parties bring some really good business. But when you can at least fill in the holes, and you've got a lot more of direct coming in, you don't necessarily have to be reliant or dependent on others to do that. So profitability. Now here's the fifth one that's emerging right today. So important. And it's kind of breaking as we're talking about this right now. And it's this whole new concept. Jasmine, you and I had a brief conversation about it. It's all the rage right now, is agentic search. And the word search doesn't always equate to sales, because it's been a marketing term, and sales has been, and as we know, sales and marketing and revenue have been in these silos. This is literally the convergence of marketing and sales right now, because it literally is going to blend these levers. And the way that people are finding their venues, and I just ran my own prompt. I use ChatGPT to create my prompts. Then I can use the prompt to find. I'm running these tests already right now. It will give me an incredible table based on my recommendations. It'll even give me ballpark pricing myself. I ran a test in Denver already. And I'm already I've heard from DMOs and others, they've seen a dip in RFPs. It's happening right now. So this transition to agentic lines up perfectly for direct, because this is your opportunity to bridge that gap of the prospect and your property directly on a one-on-one relationship. So optimizing for agentic right now via direct is at a premium.
Okay. And so before we move on, I actually want to pause you there, because that is a topic. It came up on my call I had right before this. So this is a topic. You say optimizing, like what would a hotelier do to optimize their whole, whatever their strategy is, in order to be prepared for this? Because if, as you say, right, RFPs are going down, people are doing their own research, which you always talk about, and I think is really helpful, right? People are doing their own research now. What is that optimization process like? And maybe that's a second interview, but I'm curious, just off the top of your head, like if someone's curious, what would you say?
Well, ironically, that was the how. You're jumping to the good stuff here. Do you want to cover
You're right. Well, let's jump to it, because I want to talk on it, and then we'll talk a little bit more about barriers.
Okay. So optimizing for direct group, and it's actually pretty simple. I mean, it's a little bit more complex ongoing, but right now there are literally we're calling it the Core 4. Shout out to John Carpenter because he dropped his post today and it had Core 4 in it. I'm like, hey, that's all the rage today. So the Core 4, every hotel is missing out right now that they at least set themselves up to capture some of this direct group business. Sorry, brands. I know you're stuck with a set it, forget it website, but anybody that's got a vanity site or at least a site that you can add certain things, I'm going to cover 4 of them. And the last one be the most important. So FAQs, self-guided, self-serving FAQs. And I'm not talking about the self-serving, meaning it's all about the FAQs about your property, but the basics from top to bottom, early, mid, and late in the questions. Usually starts with the top 50 questions your prospects are asking. Proximity to the airport. What's the lift look like? What's attrition? 3, beginning, middle, end, and then a separate section for the non-professional planner. Like I mentioned before, what is attrition? I had no idea what it was. Can imagine what the administrative assistant's asking. So FAQs, so agentic search can scour the internet and use that as knowing your hotel is insightful. They know what they can walk the talk. Team page. This is the biggest low-hanging fruit hotels are missing out on. We ran an article on Hospitality Net. It was the top trending for 3 weeks. And it was my interview with Mandy Graziano. The number one thing hotels are missing out on when selling meeting planners, and it's the team. They say it, we know it, the testimonies show it, yet you go to most hotel websites, you have no idea who's on the team. Mm-hmm. That is a huge miss. And testimonials, for crying out loud. We're obsessed with TripAdvisor, Yelp. We don't plan a vacation for a 3-day vacation with our family without looking at testimonials. Yet the administrative assistants, jobs on the line, they're talking about spending 5-6 figures of money. Most hotels don't even, you can't find, I mean, you might be able to find a few text testimonials on the website, but where are the video testimonials? Doesn't have to be long and extensive, but at least 3 decent video testimonials. And then you can kind of mix it up, make a sizzle reel out of it. Take some words, make a kind of a Hollywood trailer out of it, give it some music and some pop and some excitement and energy.
Right.
It doesn't take much to put together a 2-minute sizzle reel of your most exciting highlights from some of your customers. And this is the 4th. I got one more after this, but the 4th
I want all the tips.
For crying out loud, y'all. Hotels are making it nearly impossible to reach out and simply ask, do you have any dates in the middle of August before I fill out this god-awful RFP form, which RFP, again, the administrative assistant has no idea what an RFP form is. They're intimidated. They're leaving. They just want to ask a basic question on whatever it is. And we see it time and time again. So missing out on the short form is another huge one. So when I say short form, you need first name, last name, email address, and an open-ended question. And that's it. No other information at that point is needed. Leave it short and sweet. Numbers say you get a lot more early on inquiries in the funnel. And those ultimately transition into perhaps a site visit or an offline phone call. And then, no surprise, make sure you're up to speed right now with agentic search. And if you're not consistently producing content, you're looking at what the AI agents are looking to feed the machine, and make sure you're on that short list of give me 5 venues in Denver that have all my line items I'm looking for. If you're not even in that space, you're invisible, essentially.
Interesting. Okay.
So there's more, but those are top 5. Those are relatively easy things to do right now. Or like I said, you have to have access to your website, but that's low-hanging fruit right now.
No, I mean, I think that's so interesting. And I think that hopefully people are listening up here. I know you and I talked about a week ago on this same topic, is more on the vendor space, but I think we're entering into a new era. And although, our industry has been slow to adopt certain technologies, according to you and in your research, it sounds like this is coming really quickly, or it's already here, and we're figuring it out. So I think that it's really timely. And I'm even hearing some of what you're saying, thinking, gosh, even from what we're doing, like as a marketplace, we can take some of that into account, right? Like FAQs, I have to be honest, that's not something that I would normally jump into, but it sounds like that's what makes you, agentic search friendly, so to speak, because you're going to get hit on, this answers the questions that the AI agent needs to know. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's funny because I'm sure you've seen the book going around, Endless Customers. It's been all the rage.
Mm-hmm.
Shout out to Marcus Sheraton, and it literally, there are no secrets anymore. So if you're hiding, including pricing, by the way, hotels need to get up to speed immediately. Vendors, even on the vendor side, how frustrating it is when you go to see price and it says call for a demo or call for pricing. No one wants that. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And by the way, I can find out anyways. I can get a ballpark. So hotels, vendors, I don't care who you are, read that book, Endless Customers, jump on board. You better be upfront, transparent, open about everything you're doing, or you're literally not going to be considered because you're just not, you're going to be invisible.
Yeah. Well, and I think this ties into kind of the middle of what we were going to talk about. But again, that's why I love industry chats, because it kind of flows, right? We just take it whatever direction it goes. But you had mentioned there are barriers that are currently blocking hoteliers from getting more group business. So is that just this, or what other barriers are there that we should be aware of? Because I'm like, gosh, I'm learning so much right now. What other barriers are keeping people from closing group business?
Oh boy, Jasmine, I'm gonna pull up the can of bees here, not the worms, but the bees.
We're ready. Let me get my coffee. Okay, I'm ready.
And it's no mystery that I'm gonna say this. And shout out to my my bold colleague Celeste Burke nicely. I always mess up her last name. I don't know why, because she's so nice and bold. And some people don't want to hear it, but it needs to be said because it's happening regardless if we don't want to talk about it or not. It's the mindset. And it's we've always done it this way. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Itis. And unfortunately, right now, today, it's about to be shattered into pieces. And I'm going to explain why that is. Because it's been in an industry, the industry's been riding high pretty well. There hasn't been a huge incentive to make these huge changes. And we're seeing a dip in the economy. We're for a variety of reasons. Things are, I think, come to a head here. Today is the day. In fact, by the way, Google just dropped their huge release on, I haven't even dove into it. I saw Michael Cohen, which you
hey, Michael, we love him. Yeah.
He's all over it already. I haven't been able to dive in here because I've been prepping for this awesome chat here. So it is coming so fast and furious. I know it's hard to get our arms around it, but really it's not, to be honest with you, it's not that difficult to really realize. And one of the things that I'm doing tip my hat here on our webinar coming up, AI is telling us you need to do more of what humans are. You need to be trustworthy. You need to be authoritative. You need to be all of things that, and it's telling us to do this. So we're going to dive more into that on our webinar next week. But for the most part, it's been the mindset. We got to get out of hospitality does things differently. And I'm here to tell you that is no longer the deal. So the mindset's been the biggest barrier. The second one is restrictions.
Yeah.
As we talked about before, the brands, you can't touch the website. You got to go through red tape and bureaucracy, and there's no video on there's just nothing. So the set it and forget it mentality of the big brands is going to kill them right now because AI is looking for fresh, updated content and time-stamped, by the way, to show that you're relevant. So that alone is going to be a huge barrier for the big brands that are on these big, long, courtyard URLs. So access to fresh content. The silos, again, sales over here, marketing over here, they rarely talk to each other. And as I mentioned before earlier on the call, marketing is going to be your best BFF right now for sales, because they're going to do 85, 90% of your job already for you. And I know sales doesn't want to hear that, but this is a good thing for them though, because now when they have a better educated and a better in tune prospect, when sales has a conversation with them, they're not going through all the basic. Yeah, absolutely. You guys will do that right now.
Yeah.
So that convergence of sales and marketing and revenue needs to happen today. And then finally, in-group sales, which is completely different from the vendor side, is the reactiveness of the transactional seller. And it took me a while to figure out the nuances of hotel sales. Not everybody, but a lot of people are inundated with inbound RFPs. And it's been a flurry of busyness, of responding and getting back and sending out these RFPs that convert anywhere between 5 and 15. Some of our better sellers out there. Shout out to Don Barnett at London House, Chicago.
Favorite. Yes.
Awesome. He is on a different level, and obviously on our partners as well. So that shift in that is a mindset of a reactive sales process to proactive. And I know it's a little bit different because it's a longer play. It's you and I, we show up at LinkedIn every day, building relationships, dropping value. It's not sales pitch slapping in the DMs. It's that longer sale. And oftentimes that methodology or that method is a little bit different of being top of mind with a prospect. So when they do say, oh, wow, we were thinking about hosting a conference in Denver. That is right on, brother. And I'm using, by the way, top of mind, this is a perfect segue, is Don Barnett's term I use all the time. So, so much value of meeting y'all on LinkedIn. I mean, I can't imagine not being there every day. It's literally going to the best morning mixer over coffee every day where I've met so many people. I've yet to meet Don in person. We've never met in person, yet I think he's one of my best buddies. It's crazy. Top of mind over the long haul, even when your prospect does not have a piece of business for you on the table. That alone is a concept it's hard to imagine for somebody that has been in a flurry of RFPs that are, and I get it. They're inundated. Some of them are getting 20 a day and they're just busy. They can't get back. They're complaining because they can't turn them fast in time. But when you shift that to proactive, you're getting more direct business. You don't necessarily have to participate in all the RFPs. You can pull the throttle back and just concentrate on ones that are going to convert at a higher rate. So mindset shift, and the others is why the barriers to a direct, which is ultimately good for your sanity, right? Profitability and all the things that we talked about. I just can't imagine being in those trenches and just pounding out paperwork every day. I'd much rather be on LinkedIn and getting a DM and say, Cory, I love what you're talking about that. Can we set up a call to chat? All of Lure Agency's opportunities are via inbound through DM. And it's because they saw my content and it sparked a conversation. Not all of them transitioned into something we can help. But what a great way to get business is when I hear, I saw your video on LinkedIn or YouTube, I know it's going to be a great convo.
Yeah, well, and I have to tell you, even just this week, I had someone reach out. It's a name of someone I admire very much. And like he said, I'm loving your momentum and seeing what you're building. It's been awesome. He's never interacted with any of my posts, by the way. I know this is not necessarily a LinkedIn chat, but I mean, I know him through someone else, someone I respect. And I'm like, people are watching. It's just that is proof that people are seeing. And when you're consistent, and then to your point, you're top of mind. I've also had people tell me like, oh, I wish I'd known about your company before, but the next time I have a tech need, I'm coming to Affixify. Like you're just building loyalty. And so I can only imagine how that translates over to the hotel side. And Cory, actually, we have a lot of comments and questions coming in. So do you mind if we jump into those? Because I want you to get ample time. So I'm going to just start with some comments here. So John Hackett says, great point on the RFPs. Thank you, John. I think Cory knows his stuff. My friend Kate.
By the way, guys, you know what? RFPs are no myth. RFPs have been around in the marketing world for ages, but it's really unique. It's like a lot of people that are successful in the agency business don't even respond to RFPs because they know ultimately they're going to get free work out of you. And oftentimes it's all boiled down to price. So just a little caveat there. So, hey, Kate.
Hey, Kate, over at Event Temple. So she was formerly in sales and marketing for a hotel group. She's moved over to the tech side. Hi, Kate. This methodology is so important and so hard for some sales teams to understand. It is about relationships and the best take time. What are your thoughts, Cory?
Beautiful. You know, it's funny they said, because the industry, if you talk, the one word that comes about in this industry, it's all about the relationships, right? But then you peel back the onion and you go, well, what does that really mean? And building relationships takes time, just like trust. You don't throw a piece of business that's 5 or 6 figures with somebody you don't know.
Right.
So yes, it's all about relationships. In fact, we're going to talk about it on agentic search and about the referrals and word of mouth. Those are still the most important pieces of business. But I'm having a hard time with the methodology. They do say it's about the relationships, but they don't take the time to build the relationships on LinkedIn. They post a few shout outs and awards and things that they got, and they get a ton of response and ton of engagement, but it doesn't drive any business. And they're going, well, I'm on LinkedIn and I'm doing all the things. But then they try to do thought leadership content and it doesn't get any reaction. And just as you said, oftentimes people don't react it. They watch it, but then they reach out. So it's really interesting. You've got to put away the vanity metrics and the things and be in it for the long term, because relationships do take time and they will ultimately pay off. If you're leading with value and you're leading with trust and honesty, first and foremost, business will come to you.
Oh, so true. And I feel like Kate, who made this comment, probably is seeing this firsthand because she has clearly built the relationships as a hotelier. And now, from what I'm observing, Kate, and just knowing her, she's so relational. I think that's probably paying off for her. So I love that. And then we have a question from my new friend, Katrina, who is brilliant. If you guys don't know Katrina, talk to her. So how important, Cory, do you think amenity-focused video on your website is for group events like ballroom, foyer, pool, etc.? What are your thoughts?
Oh my God, this is a great tee up. And this is one of the things that we're going to talk about on our video. Agentic search is moving away from a product-focused sales process, i.e. the empty, nice ballroom with a hanging chandelier or amenities. And it's moving towards a more people-focused. So Katrina, you standing in that ballroom and saying, look at this amazing space. And you won't even believe this last group we had in here. They did this incredible team building event with BattleBots. We had a BattleBot set up here. The CEO was involved. The team got involved. By the end of the event, they turned this entire ballroom into an incredible energy, a room of electricity. And it was a bonding moment. The CEO got back to us and said it was one of the most impactful events we've ever heard. So it's taking the stage and you weaving it, the experience and how it translated, or how you could story tell that into a potential prospect. Because as we all know, thousands of nice venues are all across this United States. And be quite honest with you, if you were to give me an empty ballroom here and an empty ballroom here, I probably couldn't tell the difference. So the difference again is the team. Make your team first and foremost a part of the amenities and how you're using it.
Okay. So invest the time and resources, not so much in the empty ballroom video, right? But in the story and the emotion behind that. that's really going to make someone feel that and say, this is where I want to take my team or my business?
Less bricks and mortar, more about problem solving.
I love it. Oh, brilliant. Well, Cory, this has been phenomenal. I know we just hit our 30-minute mark and I'm like, we have so much more to cover. So I'd love to do a round 2 sometime soon. And I am excited. So for those listening or again, watching later on YouTube, make sure you're following Cory because he is sharing so much information right now about the shift in sales and marketing. And just in general, you should know him. He's someone you really need to know. I'm so glad to know you, Cory, and I'm so glad to have you on today. If our guests wanted to reach out to you, I have a feeling I know the answer, but where can they find you?
I am obsessed with LinkedIn. I get so frustrated too because some people just don't see it the way you and I do. And I'm like, you guys, you're missing out on so much. So I'm on LinkedIn neurotically. I love it. And then also we just launched our AI bar on our lureagency.com website. It's really cool. Shout out to my partner, Susan Tucker. She created these graders, AI grader for your hotel website, AI grader for your vendor website, and then a personal AI grader to see how you stack up with EAT. So there are 2. And then our agentic search webinar, which is also my post later today. So thank you.
I love it. Okay. We will include the link to your website when we repost and we do anything after this about this interview. That way people can go and check out that grader. I think that's awesome. And Cory, thank you so much for being my guest today. For those that have more questions, feel free to reach out directly to Cory, and we will see you all tomorrow for our PMS focused discussion with Josh Graham of Cloudbed. So thank you so much, Cory.
Jasmine, thank you so much. I love the conversation. Thanks for having me on. I hope you'll be on the InSync show with me soon.
I'm ready. Let's do it. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Take care.
Take care.